guys, it's Angela with Panda Kisses Crafts, and I am here today to do a video tutorial on Parker on the Porch's Bulldog zipper bag. It's not released yet, so I'm going to try to get this video done so you can watch it before you buy it if you want to see how it is made. And we are going to begin. I have my 5x7 hoop on my machine, and this is regular tearaway. And then you always need to make the appendages first of the bag. So if there's ears coming off of it or a nose or whatever coming off of the bag, you need to make those first because you will need those to sew into the actual zipper bag. So these are the ears. So we are going to make these first. And the very first step is going to show you your placement stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the first step, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what your placement stitch looks like. Now this just shows you how big of a piece of fabric you need to put down. You can use fabric or whatever. I'm using felt, so I'm going to go ahead and place this over. You just want to make sure that your fabric is placed over the entire placement stitch. And then you're going to go ahead and run your next step, and it's going to go over both. So I'm going to put fabric on both of these, and I'm going to do the next step, which is going to tack down your fabric. I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked down my fabric onto the stabilizer. Now the next step is going to go ahead and do the spots. So I am going to go ahead and put this back on my machine. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch those spots, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what the spots look like. There's them over there. And here's the spots over here. Now we are going to do the last step for stitching on the ears. You are going to take your fabric and you're going to do right sides together because you are going to flip these ears. So you want to do right sides together. So this is the right side and this is the right side right here. You're going to put them on top of each other just like that on both sides. And then you're going to go ahead and stitch step 4, and it's just going to go ahead and do a stitch back around your original placement line to put these two together, and then we will flip them. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 4, and I will come back and I will show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. This is what your front of your hoop looks like, the top, and here's what the bottom of your hoop looks like here. So we are done stitching on the ears. So we're going to go ahead and take this out of our hoop. I'm going to just pull all the stabilizer off. Now you can take the stabilizer off of here if you like. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take it off just because I don't know if it's going to make noise or whatever when it's in the puppy's ears, because it's going to be on the inside, so it's not really going to matter, but I'm going to take it off. Okay, so I have it all taken off. Now I am going to take some scissors. I'm just using these ones, and I'm going to cut around this. I'm going to leave some excess here where there's no stitching, because that's where you're going to line this up with the bag when we're actually stitching the bag. So I'm just going to cut around here. You don't have to be super precise because we're going to be flipping these inside out. Okay, like I said, I'm just going to leave some extra. We can cut more of this later if we need less, and if it's in our way. But I'm just going to cut it there for now until I see how we're placing it. Okay, there we go. Now we are going to flip these. So there's an opening right here, and you are just going to push it through the opening. And I probably have a tool that works for this. Hang on, let me grab it. Sorry about that. I'm just going to use like a little dowel thing You could use like a little chopstick, but it's just going to help you push it through. I'm just going to put my finger in here and push it through, but you could use this and it just kind of pushes through as well. And this is going to help you get the edges out. Use your fingers. You could probably use in like the eraser side of a pencil. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to do the other side. It kind of helps to push from right here first. You get it open, and then if you push that part through first, the rest kind of tends to just follow. Okay. Use this. Okay, we have our 2 ears ready to go. So this is what they look like. One little puppy ear, another little puppy ear. I'm going to set those aside because we are done with those right now. And I'm going to go ahead and re-hoop my 5x7 hoop, and I will load the zipper part of the bag, and I will come back and show you what we're doing next. Okay guys, I am back at my machine. I have my 5x7 hoop again, and I am making the 5x5 bag, I believe. So I'm using my 5x7 hoop. This is just regular tearaway again, and I have the puppy zipper bag portion loaded onto my machine. This first step right here is going to go ahead and stitch out the placement stitches for your top and bottom fabric for the front of your bag. And it also is giving you your guide for your zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this out directly onto my stabilizer, and I will come back and show you what we do next. Okay guys, this is what the placement stitch looks like for your bag and also your zipper. You can see there's 3 lines right here. This is where you place your zipper, and this middle line is where you place your zipper teeth. So if you flip your zipper upside down, I'll show you this line right here. That's where your teeth open up if you unzip your zipper right there. And if you line that directly up with the middle line right there, you are going to be good to go. Jen at Parker on the Porch is the one that made this bag, and she's really great because she also places these other outer lines exactly where they need to be, so you don't have to follow that line. If you just get it in between those 2 lines, you are also good to go. So you can do it either way. But if you are doing a zipper bag that doesn't have these 2 outer lines perfect, then the best way to do it, like I said, sorry, my hand's all in there, is to line up this line right there, that opening, line that up with the middle line right here, and then you're going to have perfect distance on either side. So you are going to go ahead and place your zipper like that. You can tape either side. I tend to just hold it, but you want to make sure that you have it enough on either side, like there and like this. This would be good placement as long as it's between these 2 lines. I'm going to look at that a little closer, and then the only other thing that you need to keep in mind is you can pick which way you want your zipper to open. This is the front of your bag, so your cute little bulldog face will be right here. So if I left the zipper this way, it's going to open from this side to this side. If you want it to open the other direction, then you need to flip your zipper. You would just place it this way and then line it back up on those lines, and then we're going to go ahead and stitch the very next step, which is going to do a tack down right here underneath the zipper teeth, and then it's going to jump over and do a tack down above the zipper teeth. So I'm going to go ahead and run that stitch, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched on the bottom and the top of the zipper, and it is now tacked down to your stabilizer. So what you're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and place your fabric right here, whatever you are going to be using. I place mine all the way next to the zipper teeth right there, because where it is going to stitch is along this line right here that you see. It's going to stitch down here. It's going to stitch all the way around this bag. This line, this placement line, and it's going to tack down your fabric. I'm using felt, so I do not need to make a clean edge because felt does not fray. If you are using woven fabric, you are going to have to get yourself a clean edge. There's lots of other videos that show woven bags that I've made. So if you need to know how to prep your fabric for woven fabric, please go watch one of those because you will need a clean edge. So I have a clean edge here. I'm going to go ahead and place it right next to the zipper, just like that, right next to the zipper teeth. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch our next step, which is step 3, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there you go. This is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked down the top. This is the front of our bag. This is the bottom front of our bag. The doggy face is going to go right here, but this is that tack down. Now we are going to go ahead and tack down the top of our bag up here. I'm going to go ahead and use the same fabric. It's felt, and I'm going to go ahead and place it up here right next to the zipper as well. If you want more of your zipper to show, you're welcome to do that, but you can see you don't have much space because it's going to stitch where this line is right here, and I would hate for you to put it out here a little further and then it not catch. Then you would have to pull your stitches out and put it down again. So I always just place it right next to the zipper. It's just what I do. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 4. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there it is. It went ahead and tacked down the top portion of your bag. Now when you have, this is how most bags go together. You have the bottom, the top done. Now you do details right here. So the details on this is the dog face. So you can see the next step, step 5, is going to be placing the accent color of the dog's face. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 5 next, and it's just going to show me where to place the next piece of fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch it. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. See where it went ahead and did the placement stitch right here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my next fabric here, and I'm going to just use white felt, and I'm just going to place it over here. Now normally I would change my thread to white so it doesn't show this brown thread, but you can see later on it's going to have a satin stitch around it because it's really thick. You can see this gray right here is really thick, so later it's going to do a satin stitch, which means it's going to cover up this next stitch anyways, and it's just a thread change I don't really have to do. You can always look ahead and see what's coming up next, and the way that normally your machine will be like this. The way that I do that is, you can see you have these controls down here. I go down to this needle with the plus and minus, which will be the same on yours, and then you can see that you can skip steps. These skip steps. So, well, no, these skip steps, sorry, these skip stitches. So this would go back 1 stitch, this will go back 10 stitches, this will go back 100 stitches, this is 500 stitches within a step. And these jump forward, these numbers, within a step. Now these two over here with the spool, these actually skip entire steps. These are stitches, these are steps. Hopefully I didn't say those wrong. Okay, so you can see that we did the placement. We're going to do the tack down step right here, which is step 6. But if I jump ahead, I can see what comes after this, and that will tell me which color I need to use. So I went ahead and jumped a step. So the next step after we tack down this fabric is going to be doing the cheeks, the tongue, and the other little cheek. And I'm going to be doing that in pink. So I wouldn't change this anyways. If it was doing, I hope I'm making sense. If it was going to go ahead and do this tack down of the fabric and then do the satin stitch right away, then yeah, I would change it to white because I'm going to want that to be white on my white fabric. But this step's going to be stitched over anyways, and my next color is going to be pink. So if I changed it right now, I'm just changing thread for no reason. So I'm going to jump back. So I'm just going to do the minus right here, and then so this is the tack down step for this fabric when I'm using white. So I'm just going to keep this thread in here. That's all I was trying to explain. Sorry, that was kind of rambling. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked this down. Now we need to cut all the way around here. This is like appliquing. This is going to be the cute little nose area of the dog. I'm going to use applique scissors. They are rounded. It's like a double curved scissors, and this lets you get really close to stitches without cutting stitches. So these are invaluable. You need these if you're going to be doing any kind of appliquing. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut around this and get all this excess fabric away. And I was explaining to you earlier that there's going to be satin stitches around this, so you can cut close to the stitches, but this excess fabric is going to be covered later. So I am just, you can see how easy it is to cut this with these curved scissors. I always, when I applique, I always go back and try to get as close as I can, because you want to make sure those satin stitches are wide enough to cover any excess fabric on this side of the stitches. Otherwise, this fabric's going to show on the outside of your stitches, and it's not going to look good. It's happened several times to me. You think you get close enough, and then you still see your fabric, and it pretty much ruins your whatever you're stitching. So I would take the extra time to get in here and cut as close as you can. Okay, I'm just going to finish trimming this just a tiny bit. I'll show you. It's all cut off around the edges, and I'm going to meet you back at the machine. Okay guys, I am back at my machine. I have it back on, and we are going to go ahead and do the next step. We are going to do those cheeks and the little tongue, and I changed my thread now, and it's this really light pink. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. And the little tongue. The next step is going to go ahead and do the little crease above the dog's nose and the little mouth part. I'm going to go ahead and do that brown, so I changed my thread. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that out, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's what it looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is the eyes and the cute little freckles. I'm going to do those in black, so I changed my thread. I'm going to go ahead and stitch it. I will come back and show you. Okay, there's the eyes and the little freckles. The next step is going to be the placement step for the nose. We're going to applique the nose. So I'm going to leave it black, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is 10, and it's just going to do a placement stitch. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what our placement stitch looks like. I'm going to go ahead and place my fabric now. I'm using vinyl. This is called Black Fluidity. It's really pretty. It's completely a flat piece, but it looks like it has all this movement in it. I bought it from my Embroidering, and that's where I buy all my vinyl, and the link will be in the bottom. If you go to see more after the video, you can see all my links. So I'm going to go ahead and place it there. Just make sure it covers the whole placement stitch right there. And then go ahead and do your tack down, which is step 11. And I'm going to go ahead and run that, and I'll come right back. Okay, that's what it looks like. I went ahead and tacked that fabric down. I'm going to go ahead and use my applique scissors again, and I'm going to cut all this excess vinyl away. And this kind of has a fuzzy backing to it, so you can see the fuzz right there. You're just going to cut as close as you can without cutting the stitches. You want to get pretty close because it's going to do satin stitches after this, but you just want to make sure you get all of this out of the way. Okay, we're almost there. I'm just going to clean it up just a tiny bit more. Okay, I went ahead and cut all the excess off, and I'm going to meet you back at the machine. Okay, I'm hooked back on my machine, and you can see the next step, step 12, is going to go ahead and do those satin stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and run that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's what the satin stitches look like. We are going to go ahead and fill in the white part of the eye now. So I went ahead and changed my thread to white, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 13. Okay, it went ahead and did the eyes. So now it's going to go ahead and do the satin stitch around here. I'm going to go ahead and use white. You can use whatever color you're accenting right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that now, and that is step 14. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. The satin stitches all around here. And now the next step is to place our ears, and on the dog the ears are going to go over your zipper. A lot of times ears are up here so it doesn't matter, but it's going to mess with the zipper, so you need to open the zipper first. So we're going to go ahead and open our zipper, and I'm going to bring it over here. Now remember, you're going to flip your bag through the zipper hole right here. So you want it open far enough that it's not a pain to turn your bag later, but you also need to, let me move it, keep it over so your foot doesn't hit it. So you have to keep it within these stitch lines over here and with enough space that your foot won't hit it when it's coming around. So I'm going to leave it right there. I have it open, and then now I am going to place our ears. So way we do that is the machine is going on its next step. It's going to automatically center where the center of the ear should go. So I'm going to bring it over to the machine and show you. But basically the ears, your cute little ears that we made earlier, are going to sit like this. They're going to go like this, and they're going to stitch right here to tack them down. And then when we put the back of the bag on, when we flip the bag, the ears will ultimately look like that. They're going to flip over like that. Okay, so that's why we're going to place them this way. But I'm going to bring you over to the machine, and I'm going to show you how to know where to place your ears. Okay? Okay, I am back on my machine, and the most important thing is to just make sure that your zipper is open. So we are on step 15 here. You can see that there is a straight line that's going to stitch next. So the way that I do this is I actually kind of start it. So my foot will go to where it's supposed to be, where it's going to start. So I'm just going to press, oops, my thing's not down. Okay, I'm going to just press start, and then I'm going to stop it. So my foot is exactly where it's going to start stitching, and it is set to stitch in the middle of that ear for the tack down. So I'm going to leave my foot there. I'm going to bring up my foot. Now basically you can see on this ear, I'm going to place from this side, well not this side, you can see that I have excess fabric here. You want to make sure to place where it starts stitching. You want to place where it's right above that, because you don't want this open hole there. So you're going to want to place on the line, the outline placement stitch above this, so like right about there, and then you're going to want to place the middle of your ear. So I'm going to come over here and let's see if I can show you. And this is the right ear, because you're going to put it down like this. You want to do the right side of the ear facing down. So this is the right side of the ear facing down. And I'm going to just, oops, sorry, let's see if I can get a good angle of this. I'm basically going to make sure you have stitches right here. I'm going to make sure that where this starts right here, I'm going to place it right about there. See how it's like right like there? And then I'm going to make sure that my entire ear is in the middle of where this needle is. Because when this needle comes down, it's going to start stitching in the middle, and it's going to go like this and like that. It's going to go back and forth, and it's going to tack it down. And this is basically going to place your puppy's ear like in the middle of the zipper, and it's going to look really cool and in the right place, so it looks like a puppy dog. So basically it's going to go like right about there. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 15, and it's just going to tack down this ear so it stays in place. So I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, you can see what it looks like right here. It's just going to be a cute little puppy ear like that. So it went ahead and tacked it down, and it's holding it in place. Now we need to place this other ear over here, but I wanted to come back on and tell you about something that happened. And everybody's machine's a little different. I actually am running a Baby Lock Spirit. So you might be on a PE 770. That's what I started with. Or you might be on a number of things. There's lots of embroidery machines out there. But when my machine finished here and it moves over to this side to do the next step, step 16, it actually ended up hitting my zipper right here. And it kind of delayed the machine. It stopped it. Now, I don't know if this will happen on yours or not. It just depends on how your machine reads the next step. But I wanted to let you know, if that happens, if your machine ever catches on anything, or if you hit your arm or whatever, your alignment arm thing, while you're doing a design and you're not completely done, don't go ahead and just fix whatever it got caught on and move to the next step, because in some cases your alignment of your arm may be off now, because my foot actually got stuck right here and it just held. It went, it wasn't very happy with me. And if I go to the next step, then my alignment could be completely off. The machine basically means the machine thinks it's somewhere else, and then it will ruin what you have done so far. So if my foot ever gets caught on anything, if it bumps something, because I put all sorts of stuff in my bags, and so it gets caught on stuff and bumps on stuff, and certain fabric might catch it, I turn my machine completely off and let this realign. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can get back to your step or whatever. So I'm going to turn my machine completely off because it could be out of alignment. It might not be, but I have cases where I've ruined all my work because it was out of alignment and it starts somewhere else. And then I'm really not happy. So I went ahead and turned my machine off. I'm going to turn it back on so my arm can realign. Okay, so just bear with me a second. I just want to make sure that you do this if it does get caught, because I was working on something that took a really long time and I got caught on something because I always put really bulky stuff in stuff that I'm making. Okay, so it brought me back to my step. If it doesn't bring you back to your step, I'll show you how to get there. But what was important is that this realigns so it knows exactly where it is again. So I'm going to put my design back on here. I've had cases where all I had left is to put the back on, because normally if it catches on something, it's normally catching on the zipper or it's catching on my little lobster claw things that I put on here. I usually catch on these things too. And so you're really at the end of your bag then, and then it ruins your whole bag, because when it comes through and does this last stitch to put the back on, it does it right here or something, because it thinks that's where it is, and that is not fun. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that zipper pull back. Okay, so if your machine did not bring you back to your original step, you can control your steps right here. Remember, this gets you into your stitches and your steps controls. So you press that, and then remember, these all control your stitches within a step, and these can make you jump forward and backwards between your steps. So I'm on my correct step, but if you are not, you might, if you're at the very first step, you can always push these. See, I'm on 16, there's 15, 14. You can jump between these. So jump forward to where you need to be. We need to be on step 16. So there we are. Just want to make sure you know you can jump your steps. And then now we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and push this and see if it catches on my zipper again. The other thing you can do is, we know that it's going to jump up to here. We can move this just for a second to get it over there. Make sure this is down. Okay. So, and now, see, it probably would have caught my foot. So I'm going to bring my needle back up, and I'm just going to go back to the step. Okay, so now we're over here. It probably would have hit this again. And so it was kind of good that I did move it out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back open. I mean, technically I can leave it over here while it does this ear, and then I need to move it back open, because it will be really hard to open your bag through that little spot. So let's go ahead and place our next ear with it out of the way. So you want to take the right side of your ear with the cute little spots. You want to place it down. The two things that I'm watching again are where this stops from the stitches to my little opening, you want to make sure that you are placing on this side of the stitches. You don't want like a little opening left when you flip your bag. So you want to place over here where it is along this stitch line, because that's where it's going to stitch on there. It's going to stitch down, and then you want to place it in the middle. This foot is already in the middle of where it's going to stitch, so that's your indicator on where to place this ear. So you bring it up here, you make sure that these stitches, it's focusing on my hand, these stitches are far enough over this way that you're not seeing this opening. Okay, so you'll place it there, and then you want to place this in the middle of your needle. And that's all you want to do. The other thing I watched for, I actually placed this one a little bit higher because I wanted it more aligned with the zipper. You can place these anywhere you want, but if you want it to look like the cute little puppy, this is how you place it. I mean, I could place this down here and it will stitch with the bag later in the next step, but I don't think you want an ear down there. I'm just letting you know you have that ability. So if you're going by the foot, it would be exactly like right about there. But the other thing that I watched for, I placed this a little higher because I wanted it like even with the zipper. And so you can watch a couple things. You can see where this ear touches the eye. You're going to want it symmetrical. So you're going to want this one the same way. So I'm going to line this more up with the zipper just because that's how I was doing it. And then I try to make sure that it's kind of equal distance to the eye on both sides. And you can just make sure that it looks okay. And then that's where you're going to place it. So just make sure that it's lined up with this stitch right here over enough so it's closed stitches there. And then make sure you have it aligned with your ear over here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do step 16, which is going to go ahead and tack that down. And I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is where we're at. It went ahead and tacked it down, so if you flip your ears over, it's going to look like that. Okay, they're super cute. They look pretty even. They look okay. Now we want to move this zipper back. Don't forget, because it's going to be super hard to get anything through that space. So I'm going to move this all the way back over here. You still are going to want to make sure it's further enough in that your foot doesn't hit it, because it's going to go along this line for the last step. So that should be good right there. Now you can be done right here and you can just put your back fabric on, right sides together. This is right side, this is right side, right sides together. It's going to go like that. But I'm going to add something here. This is where you want to add anything, because the last step is next and it's going to enclose your bag. So anything that you want to come off of your bag, you can do right now. So the last step is going to go all the way around this placement stitch, and it's really just going to close the bag up. So if you put this here, it's going to do this stitch around here several times, closing the bag, and then ultimately we're going to be opening through your zipper. That's why you have to have that zipper open, because we're going to open through your zipper right here, and we're going to flip the bag inside out. That's how we get these bags to close with no seams on the outside. So at this point, you can put anything you want on here. I'm going to go ahead and do this lobster clasp so it can hook onto a bag. This is just called a D because it has the flat surface right here. This is a D-ring swivel, because it's swiveling, lobster clasp. And there's a lot of different ones out there. This is which one I use. And then I'm going to use fold over elastic, this cute little puppy paw, and I'm going to go ahead and hook it. Now the way you want to hook this is similar to the ears. You want the stuff that you're keeping placed on the inside of your bag. If you have it placed like this, which is true what you would want to see, then this all cuts off over on this side. Anything outside of this line on the outside gets cut off. So that's why you want to place things on the inside, and when you flip your bag, it will work. It will be like this once the bag's flipped. So whatever you place face side down, so if you have directional fold over elastic, you want the right pretty side, the side that you're going to want to see on the front of your bag, face down, and you want it to go on the inside of the bag. So I am actually going to put it under this ear because I want it just kind of to be at this top corner. And depending on how far you place this fold over elastic, if you place it really close to the stitch lines, remember you don't want your foot to hit this metal either, so you need to tape it on the inside or something so it doesn't move. But depending on if you want it really short, so it's just really short, or if you want it really long, will depend on where you place this fold over elastic. So I'm going to place it like right here. Wherever you place it is where it's going to stitch, is along this placement line. So if I put it right there, then it's going to stitch right on that corner right there, and that's how it's going to hold it into the bag. So I'm going to place mine right there, and this is long enough for me. And I'm actually going to grab some tape. Hang on a second, sorry, I don't have tape over here. My office is kind of all over the place because I got some new stuff for Christmas for my office, and it's not really together yet. So I'm going to go ahead and just tape this. And you know me, I don't love tape because I don't like having to take it off later, but I'm going to put tape right there. Okay. And that's just going to hold it good enough, and my metal is out of wherever my foot's going to hit. So we are good to go. So I have that there. I'm going to put right sides together. Remember, this is the right side, this is the right side, and you're just going to want to make sure you have a big enough piece of fabric to go all the way around these placement stitches that you see here. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. Okay. So I'm going to go like that. We're going to go run the very last step, which is step 17, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, I am done. There it has the bag stitched. There's the back of your hoop. Here's the front of my hoop. Now, a couple things. I had some issues with the ears being so bulky. My machine wasn't very thrilled with going over the bulk right here. And it actually stopped right here. It wouldn't even go over to begin with, so I had to realign my machine. And then I actually, you know how you can skip some stitches? I moved some stitches over here to start in the middle, so it would stitch from here first instead of trying to get up like that hill right there. So I started it right here. I like it was stuck right here, so I moved it forward a little bit, and then I stitched right here a little bit just so it could pack it down so the machine would want to go over it. So that was one thing that I did. The other thing I did is I put this water stabilizer to try make it my foot glide over it a little smoother and not catch. I'm just going to pull this off now. I had to do a couple things to get it over. None of the other girls had any issues with it. My fabric might just be bulkier than theirs, but I was just kind of tell you some tips if yours is super bulky and the foot of your machine is getting stuck on stuff. So I did that right here, and then when I got over here, it actually broke my needle. So my fabric must just be really thick right now. You have to see we're going through 4 layers of felt right here. Felt's not that thick in my opinion, so I'm kind of surprised because I go through multiple layers of vinyl. It just really didn't like these ears right here, but I got through it. And some of the ways I did, I moved my foot forward and stitched right here just so it had a path down. After that, it had no problem. Here I changed my needle because it broke, but then I didn't have a problem after that either. So if you have any of those problems, you can try putting water stabilizer over it, just because then your foot will slip over it instead of getting caught on this stuff. You can see how bulky these ears are sticking out here. But in any case, hopefully you don't have those couple issues that I did. The other ladies didn't. My foot must just sit lower than some machines, because a lot of times when my foot catches on stuff, I'll tell Jen that it caught on it, and she's like, well, it never catches on mine. It's just me and my machine. So anyways, we are done. We have it completely enclosed. There's the front, there's the back. We are going to take it off our hoop now because we are done. So I'm going to pull this off. And then I always pull the stabilizer off next. So I'm going to pull all of this off. You know, I have these long strings because I had to change my needle, and that's just extra thread. So I did not enclose this bag with enclosed seams, so you're going to see all these stitches. So I actually clean them up a little bit. I take my applique scissors and I just cut these strings down so I don't have strings hanging out everywhere. And I just make sure not to cut the little knots because that will make your stuff unravel, but I clean it up so you don't have all of this hanging onto the bag. Just a little bit, just so it's not so messy. You don't really see the inside of your bag anyway, so I don't think it's that big of an issue. And then I'm going to take the rest of the stabilizer off, and I kind of use this little tool right here. It's called a seam fix. It has this little rubberized end, and if you open it, it's a seam ripper. But I like it because it gets this stabilizer up really easily. If you have small spaces, it just starts it really good because it has that rubber on the end. I'm going to pull these stitches, get it out of the nose, and I'm just cleaning this bag up. You're not going to want this stabilizer on here because it will come off by itself eventually anyways. I'm going to cut myself. Now, the other thing is this is your zipper right here. You have zipper placement strings right here that are going to feel like you're breaking your bag, but you're going to pull these up. So let me show you. I can get it. See this string? This was a placement string, and you just want to pull it off. Okay, now you can open through your zipper right here. I don't have all the stabilizer off, but there'll be a hole here, so I'm just going to pull from the top and the bottom. See, there's your zipper hole. Now, if you didn't open your zipper, this would not happen. Your bag would be useless. You couldn't do it. You could try open it up from the side and push your zipper through and then sew with your sewing machine if it's off of your hoop already, which I have done. But just don't forget to open your zipper and you'll never have that problem. So I'm going to get the rest of the stabilizer off real quick. Okay, I can clean it up a little better later too. Get that string. Yeah, some of those strings, okay? Now I'm going to cut all the way around the bag. You don't have to watch for anything on this because we didn't do enclosed seams. If you have enclosed seams, you would have a hole down here that you have to close later, and you would have to watch how you cut it, but we didn't do that on this bag. So I'm just going to cut all the way around without cutting my stitches. And then you need kind of a bulky set of scissors because you're cutting through your excess zippers here. You're actually cutting through 4 layers of felt around the ears and that zipper, so you're going to need some good scissors. Okay. Now I'm going to flip the bag, and the way you do that is you just flip through this zipper right here. And this is felt, so it's really easy to flip. Vinyl, a little more challenging. Okay. Push everything out. Get these bottom out, and I'm just using my hands. You can also use a dowel or a chopstick or an eraser at the end of the pencil to get your corners out really nicely. Okay, now this is the 5x5 bag too. Okay. Just gonna get it all cute. Still see some of my black fuzz from the back of my vinyl that I used. Okay, there he is. He is super duper cute. Look how cute that is. That's super fun. So now I have the little thing. This is what it looks like with lobster claw on it. It can hang off of my daughter's bag. It is, this is the 5x5 size, so you can see how big it is in relation to my hand. And then there's the back, there's the front, the zipper, you open it. That's what the inside looks like. Super cute. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you get through the steps and that it's really easy for you and not stressful. Bags are really fun, super cute, really cool gift. And Happy New Year. It's New Year today, so have a Happy New Year, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for joining me.